Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah, Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah.
In alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam Allah, wa rasulullah. Welcome to another session of Sunnah Followers Hadith class. And this is the Hadith class where we are discussing hadiths that relate and pertain to women in Islam. And I just want to remind everyone, we're almost at the end of our book, the 200 hadiths for Muslim women, that was written by Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli. And we have maybe 2 or 3 hadiths left. And then we will be switching over to the new book entitled Live Longer with Less Time, written by Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli. Please, if I tried to give you guys enough time to order your books. So if you have not yet ordered the book, go to his website, atlionline.com, and order this book. You can put in a search, Live Longer. You want to buy it before it sells out, because last time the other book sold out. It's not even on there. This one is not even on there anymore. So you want to get your copy. They only cost $5. $5 for this book, and it's a great book because not only does he give you the hadith, but he gives you the meaning as well. Of course, I'll be adding more to the meaning when I teach it, and I'll also add the history of the hadith to this. So please, if you have not picked up your book yet, go to his website, atlionline.com. It is on my Facebook. Dig through the pictures and you'll get to it. For those of you who are in the Sunnah Followers group page, I did make it as a feature article. Click on the link there, order your book so you can get it in 3 to 4 days, and you'll be ready when I start the class. Okay, so let's put the hadith on the screen for tonight's discussion. And the source of this hadith is Sahih Abu Dawood. This one is Abu Dawood hadith. Let's take a look at it. And this hadith is narrated by AbuSa'id and AbuHurayrah. They both said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whenever a man wakes up at night and then awakens his wife, and together they pray 2 rak'ahs, they are written down among the men and women who make much mention of Allah. In other words, this is speaking about what we talked about in our class on how to pray, the virtues of the night prayer, the virtues of performing the night prayer. And we talked about how the night prayer is a voluntary prayer that can be performed anytime after Isha and up until before Fajr. And it can consist of as many rak'ahs as you want, but when you are done praying the night prayer, you want to end it in an odd number. And all the voluntary prayers are performed in sets of 2s to make them different from the obligatory prayers. So you can a man can wake up in the middle of the night, wake up his wife, and together they pray 2 rak'ahs. And then they can, after they give salams, they can pray 1 more, and that will be their odd number, and that can be it. And you get the reward as if you have stayed up all night in prayer. And there's another version of this hadith. Not only did the Prophet say that a man gets this reward for waking up his wife, but the woman gets the reward for waking up her husband. So remember, Allah tells us in the Quran to rush and compete with one another in doing good deeds. This is something that a newly married couple, such as my Tariq and my Yasmin, both of them grew up here on this website. They're Sunnah follower kids, and now they are Sunnah follower adults, and now they are Sunnah follower spouses. They just got married yesterday. The pictures are on my page. This is something that this couple can do, and anyone like them, compete with each other, race with one another to the performance of good deeds, race with one another and compete with one another in earning the pleasure of Allah. And I would look at it like this is something fun to do. Who can wake up first? Me or you? Who's going to get the reward? Because whoever gets up first and wakes up the other person gets the reward. So this is a great thing that newly married couples can do to maintain their marriage and also keep that focus on Allah. A family that remembers Allah together and prays together is the family that stays together as long as they do everything in accordance to the Sunnah. So I highly recommend that this be something for husbands and wives to do, to compete with one another and race with one another to see who can get up first and wake the other one up to get the reward. And then we together make 2 rak'ahs, of night prayer. So now that I've mentioned this hadith and explained to you its meaning, who would like to share how they can implement it in their life? Go ahead, Sister Aisha.
Yes, for me, this is like a beautiful hadith because just like you explained it beautifully, that you want a spouse, who you can wake up like wake up for prayer with, because right now, all this women and men are just on the you think about it, they're on the wrong path. Nobody nowadays wake each other up for prayer, wake each other up for like prayer, and I just find that so romantic when husband and a wife wake each other up in paradise. I mean, in in prayer because it shows that they're trying to compete each other for paradise. And it just reminds me of how you want your spouse to be a person of paradise, and for both of you guys to be in paradise, both of you guys need to you guys have to do things that you deserve to go to paradise together. So it's just like Allah said, the believing woman is for the believing man, and that if a person have good belief and you and what's it called, and if a person wants like you were explaining on those lecture you told us about how a believing man is for a believing woman, and how to look for, and that's also one of the things you could look for him if he is good in his prayers, and if he's praying his prayers, because nowadays some men and some women don't pray their prayers. So for me, what I take from this is, before I look, what I look for in a man is, I have to ask him about his prayers, because I do need someone to wake me up from my prayers, because I sometimes you can't wake yourself up. So I rather that tells me what a man you are if you're waking me up, because you're showing me, your character, and you're showing me that you're following the sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him. That you want paradise for me too, and I just find that very romantic.
Exactly. And again, this shows why it's so important for you young Muslims out there to understand that Allah has set, like I told you before in my marriage class, Allah has set the guidelines and the conditions for getting married. And those conditions are not looking for a dating app. You don't go to outside people seeking a husband or seeking a wife. That's not the procedure for Islam, because nobody knows you like your family do, and nobody cares and loves you like they do. If you're interested in getting married, you do just like Brother Tarek and and Sister Yasmin did. You get married in accordance to the Sunnah. And this is how the marriage will start off in the right way, and you will end up a successfully, happily married couple, and experiencing the fun of getting to learn each other, on an intimate level. Now that we've already established the religiousness, we've already established the good morals and good character. Now we can establish intimacy, so, and then as we'll establish true love. Hello, that's the procedure. And then the hard work is done. The family's already found out that the person prays, that the person has good morals, that the person does believe in Allah, because all that's been already investigated. So now we can turn it into a fun thing. Which one of us can wake up first? and wake up the other one and make 2 rak'ahs. I'll give you a prize and let y'all set the prize. The prize can be whatever intimate thing you want it to be. That's the prize as to who can wake up first. That's how you establish a happy, healthy marriage. You don't need to go to no workshops on the internet to learn that. All you have to do is listen to what the prophet said. Follow the sunnah. Okay, and be careful of these workshops put on by women and men who are nobodies, especially if they're run by a woman. What did the prophet say about a woman that's trying to arrange people's marriages? Okay, go ahead, Precious.
Yeah, I just want to say this is a beautiful hadith, and I agree with everything Sister Ishel said. And I also was just wanting to add that, even for people who have been married for a long time, this is still a good hadith to continue to encourage each other to do good deeds and to do this as husband and wife. And also, like you said, offer gifts to each other or just little things for each other. Like, hey, look, you wake me up, I'm gonna do this. Or you do, just whatever you could do. And then I was also going to say that, if you're married and you have a spouse, either the man or the woman is not racing to do good deeds and not trying to wake each other up because they're just neglectful and lazy, then maybe those people need to rethink their options and cut somebody off and find somebody who wants to do, who wants to race to do good deeds.
And cut them off soon enough before you get pregnant with children.
Yes, definitely.
Something that you're not going to hear from other daya either. When you do realize, say, for example, you do end up finding out that the person that you married, was not all that religious, you better drop the ball right then before you end up with the ball in your stomach. Because, you don't want children to end up having children by irrighteous people who are going to, remember, the child is 1/3 you, and 1/3 the other parent, and 1/3 itself. You don't want that child to inherit the characteristics and the morals of that other person that's not righteous. Okay, so we have to be careful. If you realize that the ball was not what you thought it was, you better toss it out the window before you end up with it in your stomach. And that's the reality. Anyone else? Go ahead, Marianne.
I'm glad that you brought that up because I remember listening to this lecture of Mufti Mek, and he said during the first year of marriage, like, don't get pregnant. Use that first year to learn each other, to know your likes, your dislikes, to see what makes you guys happy and smile, and just use that first year to get to know each other. And if there is any problems, you guys can get a divorce within that first year instead of just getting pregnant and having to be stuck with that person.
Yeah, a lot of people are not smart and intelligent enough. They sit there and stay in a bad relationship and bring forth not 1, but 2 or 3 or 4 or more children into this world. And you think those children are going to be righteous when their parents were not? You need to think about that. Anyone else? And again, let's take a look at this wonderful hadith. And again, the prophet said, whenever a man wakes up at night and wakes up his wife and they together pray 2 rak'ahs, they are written to be amongst the men and women who are mentioned, who make much mention of Allah. The angels will praise these people. The angels will make dua for these people. And this is one of the best deeds you can do, is to sacrifice your bed, sacrifice your spouse, and together get up and show your appreciation, your thanks, and your love for Allah. Whenever we take 2 steps towards Allah, He'll come a fathom towards us. You take 2 steps towards Him and sacrifice your warmth and your comfort for Him, He will gladly bless you with that which is best for you. So again, the center of our relationships with each other should be Allah, because Allah should be the center of everyone's individual relationship. So I want you guys to think about this. And like I said, for the newly married couples, compete. Go ahead, Norta.
I think this hadith is amazing. It shows, how a spouse should be with one another waking each other up for the sake of Allah, and praying 2 rak'ahs together. And I hope that, inshallah, if I ever get married, and that's ever, me and my spouse can wake each other up for, to remember Allah while everyone else is sleeping. I think that would be like, when you do things like sunnah, when you do things the way Allah obligated, life is much more sweeter. And just like how they're recorded for waking up together on Allah's book, they'll be written for paradise together as well. And I think that's just beautiful. And instead of nowadays waking each other up for, like, what you call it, watching movies, because I know a lot of people do that, like running marathons. It's like, oh my God, let's do this and this. Maybe start doing things the sunnah way. Like I think it's like the sunnah's everything we ever needed, like how the prophet would like race with Aisha. I think that's amazing, because I would love to race someone, especially your spouse. Like, let me see if I can beat you, because I totally can. So I think I think like it'd be so nice, like how if a person put a book together, it's like sunnah things to do with the wife. Oh my God, that'd be probably a bestseller. So I find this hadith really nice.
Alhamdulillah. Yes, go ahead, Sister Umi Barrow. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
This hadith is so beautiful that it just tell us women how, like, even though the Prophet has told us how to choose already, but this emphasize how we're supposed to choose our husband. It's not about I love you, you love me, all that nonsense. It's all about finding somebody who's supposed to be your partner to Jannah, somebody who will help you, who will, raise you up when you're down, because Iman or faith is not something that will stay strong all the time. Sometimes you will need somebody next to you that will pick you up and remind you that this is your goal. We have a Muslims supposed to have a high aim. It's all about Jannah. And you can see, like, when it comes to marriage, kids, everything turns around Jannah. And if you miss that opportunity to find that person that will be your companion to Jannah, then you miss everything. Because love comes when two people are together for the sake of Allah. When two people are worshiping Allah, that's where real love will come. But other than that, it's just nonsense, subhanAllah. And this is telling me all that. So I have a lot to choose, subhanAllah.
Exactly. As she said, guys, we have to make Allah the center of our everything. If you put Allah as the center of everything, then it can't help but succeed. When you put other things the center, money, love, sex, or whatever, it's going to fail. And again, you have to start off right too. Do things the way Allah said do them. If we start doing things the way Allah said do them before you even get married, you get married the way Allah said. If we would stop trying to be like kafirs, and if we would stop adapting their ideology and their lifestyle, we'd be happy. Yes, go ahead, Sister Sabrine.
Yes, assalamu alaikum. It is a beautiful hadith, and it lets us know that we should always implement Allah in every part of our life. And when you're married, that's the most wonderful thing, to wake each other for salat, for the sake of Allah. Everything that you do, your night prayers, your salats, your fast, just everything that you do should be for the sake of Allah. And that brings you closer together in your marriage. It makes you more intimate with each other because you're being intimate with Allah. It's just in a different way, but it's the way that it pleases Allah. And Allah blesses marriage like this. The way you begin many times is the way it's going to end. So it's best for you to make sure you begin the marriage correctly, according to Sunnah.
Exactly. It's all got to begin with and end with Allah. That's one of Allah's names. Allah is the beginning and Allah is the end. And everything we do should begin with and end with Allah. Until we do that, everything will fail. Are there any other comments?
Yes, I had one. I was like, if we all, brother and sisters, was able to follow the way of the Prophet Muhammad SAW, his Sunnah ways, things would be so beautiful. And with us learning from you and everything, having class every day, it helps us to be able to, deal with life like that. It teaches us every day to do something that the Prophet Muhammad SAW did, so that helps us out a lot. But if the world was like that and the brothers was like him, the marriages and everything would be beautiful. But inshallah, one day we'll get that. That will come for us, inshallah.
Yeah, just we have to. It's the reality is everything is going to get worse. We know, but you can make it your relationship, yourself better. Just stick. We have to try to revive the Sunnah. We have to try to bring it back. We're living in a day and an era in which the Sunnah is abandoned. The same way that I'm trying to revive it through my teachings. You guys can help revive it through your practices too. And by following, the advice is given to us by the Prophet, the same way Sister Yasmin and Brother Tarek did in their wedding, by the way they got married and stuff. We can, it's going to disappear. But like the Prophet said, that even though Islam will become strange, there will be a little handful of believers trying to keep it strong. And let's try to be that handful that does try to revive and keep the Sunnah strong and keep it going, and carry it on to our children. Let's try to raise our children to be, a product of that revival, and that's the hard thing to do in this day and era. But inshallah, we can, die trying, that's a jihad. That's jihad for the sake of Allah, subhanallah. Okay, I want to thank everybody for joining and participating in this session of our Hadith class. Again, for those of you who have not yet purchased a new book that we will be moving to in the next couple of days, Live Longer with Less Time, written by Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli, please get your copy ASAP. Also, I'm going to be posting up the schedule for tomorrow. It's going to be a little different. We're changing around the schedule tomorrow because I'm going to have Dr. Saeed's class at 6, and I'm going to have my class after his at 7, inshallah. So there's going to be a couple of changes and an addition. And then I'm going to do my other class at 11. So I'll be posting the schedule out in a few minutes, inshallah. So just look for it on Facebook. Also, just let you guys know the Zoom room is open. Feel free to come in here and hang out with us if you like. And finally, don't forget, guys, we're always in need of donations to support this dawah effort. If you would like to continue to have lectures, like this from our website, please support it. It takes money to pay for that Zoom room that we're using that's open 24 hours. It costs money for the bandwidth we use for the videos, the servers we use, the programs I use to make the videos with, the SoundCloud I pay for, the space and usage. Please, guys, support this dawah effort by going to Sunnahfollowers.net, making a donation, and also you can Zelle. We just learned that from Sister Antar. You can send a Zelle to my email at laylanashiba@gmail.com. That's probably easier for some of you to just Zelle it. Okay, so I'm getting ready to close out for tonight. I hope to see everybody tomorrow, and also see you in the Zoom room. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.